All right. Thank y'all for coming to, well, I guess it doesn't really have a name, but spoken word, you know. We're going to have some good things going on tonight. I'd just like to start with a couple of quick comments. Out front, there's a kind of tall table, and we have, John Anderson has some books available for sale on there. We also have a couple of sign-up lists, one for myself. I have a book coming out shortly, so anyone interested in info on that should sign up for it. And there's also a mailing list for future info on other reads that will be going on at Danbury 13. Tonight we have poets coming throughout various areas of the state. We're going to start with, names are Kevin. Names are flipping out of my head right now. We're going to start with Kevin Gianni. He is a spoken word artist, also a grad student at WestCon. Following him, we have Jeanette. She's the editor-in-chief of the Echo over at Western. Then John Anderson, school teacher, published poet from Willimantic. Followed by our friend Freddie over here, a great organizer with the Domino Effects, also a spoken word artist, followed by myself, and then an open mic. And I'm introducing everyone up front because I'm not going to get back up here to introduce people. They're just going to come and let it all flow. And on that, I would like to have Kevin take him on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. It is a pleasure for me to be here tonight to read my work, my art for you, my audience, my crowd, my friends, and my family. During this period of time, brief but quite adequate, I will read to you 4 works without endless explanation, without introduction, without justification of their existence between, during, or after. And as soon as I stand here in front of you, speak my words, my art, I will then proceed to fold these pages held in my hand, carefully place them in my pocket, and move to the back of the room, blending easily in with the rest of you. And you may think that I am nervous to be standing here in front of you. And I am. As I speak, I can feel the tension in my throat, threatening to silence my voice, my art, before it can release into the air to be captured by your earlobes, tunneled to your holding cell, and held hostage by your thoughts, subjected to intense interrogation. What makes it easier is that you all are seated before me in your underwear, sitting attentive but unknowingly undressed, so I can speak my next word as well as the one following without a stutter that can turn a once attentive head away from the art right here to the cars out there. Here I am, my voice, my body, my mind, and my art standing before you, my audience, in your bras, boxers, and briefs, holding this poem, if that's what this is, in my tightly clasped, perspiring right hand, the hand exposed to your glare, the hand which wonders if the pocket can make this any easier. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for lending your ears, as you would lend your eyes to the strokes of a brush, and tonight I have only one request. Not applause, not congratulations, consolation, or a way to go, pat on the back. All I ask is that you simply listen to my voice and listen to my art. After I'm finished, and after tonight, if you see me again, I understand if you may not recognize my face, or my hairstyle, or my shaking right hand, and I will not be upset, for I probably will not recognize you clothed. But if I'm walking on the street, and I turn and I speak to whomever I'm with, I hope that you will recognize my voice, my art, and in a glimpse, far too quick as we do in passing, our eyes might meet, and you'll see that mine are blue. Blue as they are now when I face you, blue as they always will be. guilt. As I climb under our sheets, on our bed, in our bedroom, how will I stop you from catching the time? Will I have to scrub with soap and water, the smell of her sweat before I lie next to you? How can I hide? Hide the smell of beer on tap and hide my tan face, ruddy and blotched, though not from the sun. As I climb under our sheets on our bed in our bedroom, how will I stop you from catching the time? Did you wait and read, waiting while I was gone, waiting for me to return with some chocolates or a perfumed felt rose? You read, I'm sure, the book you bought for a sweatpant rainy day. Lying on your back, you read at a feverish pace, flipping the pages with little intention of completing the work, but to keep your thoughts from the burning coals my absence has ignited in your stomach and in your head, weakening your grip on the hardcover jacket, allowing the book to slip towards your center. As I climb under our sheets on our bed in our bedroom, how will I stop you from catching the time? Did you wait, wanting to scrub the sweat from your skin with bleach and lye and everything else potent? Something much stronger than soap and water? Or did you imagine saving those desserts for me? No soap, no water, just bleach and lye and everything else potent. Maybe in my coffee, or the syrup on the pancakes you make so early to give me energy for work. As I climb under our sheets, on our bed, in our bedroom, how will I know if you'll catch me this time? Subtitle. The rain outside, coupled with wind, rattles the thin panes of glass in the picture window behind my chair, the chair where I sit and drink my morning coffee. You come down the stairs in your morning shirt. It's large because it's mine and large enough to hide, but it's short to your thigh and short enough to reveal the smoothness of your youth. You sit on the arm of my chair where I drink from my mug, and you tell me you love me today as you loved me yesterday and every other day I've been around. And the wind and the rain, they rattle the windows, my nose warmed by steam from a sip of my coffee. I look into your eyes after I put down my cup and see a tear welling, slow swelling, and held by your lid. Your eyes are most beautiful, glossed with your tears waiting to drop. And as your tears drop on my arm, drop on my hand, drop in my coffee, I tell you don't worry, and the wind and the rain, they rattle the windows. I reach for your hand and you slide to my lap. I touch your lips with my finger and push up your shirt, and the rattle grows louder and my coffee gets cold. Don't worry, we'll never grow old. Due tomorrow, no later than 2 p.m., typed in proper MLA format, no exceptions. Tonight, as I help you work on your essay, standing over you to your right, my hand resting on the back of your chair, my eyes shift from the stapled pieces of paper in front of the computer on the desk in the corner of the room to your lap. Over the edge of the desk, I see how tight your black, white-striped warm-up pants fit to your form, and how crumpled the bottom of your faded orange t-shirt rests at the angle of your legs. The angle where I'd otherwise be if your essay wasn't due tomorrow. As I gaze at your legs slightly spread, running the length of the chair, I know you trust me not to stare too long, trust that a gaze would only be a gaze and that a thought could only be a thought of how to improve the 6-page essay you are struggling to write. But as you shift in your seat and take a sip from your bottle of water, I think about the blue screen glow on your freshly moistened lips. As you turn slightly to face me and ask me a question I don't hear, I think about the shine in your hair as it brushes over your shoulder, falling to rest as you wait patiently for my advice. When you scratch the top of your left thigh and you ask me the question again, I think about how warm it probably is between your legs, even though your fingers are cold when they brush under mine, as I take the pen from your hand and place a comma before a quotation on the stapled pieces of paper resting near the edge of the desk. While I was driving, you called, so I came, and I stood in the rain without speaking. Gray skies of clouds, of birds, of rain, all above here where I stand, on the ground of grass, of dirt, of my father. The birds finish gathering for the afternoon and move to the line of trees behind the last row of stone, disguising themselves with distance in the cover of leaves. October leaves that will eventually fall by November, some to be forced off their branches by the weather from these clouds. While the birds are at rest, nothing moves, not the grass, nor the trees, not La Cava, De Santos, Barbera, or Simcoe. Nothing moves but the rain as it wets the fabric legs of my jeans and my shoes down to my socks, anything my umbrella cannot shield. The clouds will not break for a few days, but I'll only be here a few minutes. I don't have much to say, but you brought me here, so I'll stand at this place where you rest, as the rain falls in soft sheets on the umbrella held in my hand, which gently rises and falls with the wind. Today's not the day to be out in the cold, Mom would say if she knew you had called, but there will be no mention of this visit after we part. Today I heard you while I was driving, as I have so many other times. Your voice when you call is not the voice that could have brought me in for dinner, or made me clean my room, or cheered me on at a football game, but a voice that tells me you can see me, and you watch me, and know I can be weak. If it was another day, I'd sit and I'd speak and I'd talk to you about things, my future, my job, a problem, or a girl, anything I think you'd want to hear, or like to hear, if you were here. But today you tell me you just want me to be here with you. Today I stand on this ground, the ground below my feet, wet socks and sneakers, where 3 tiny daisies grow, planted by no one. The ground which means so much more than that ground labeled La Cava, De Santos, and Barbera, and Simcoe, with the same type of grass and the same kind of dirt that gives life to other flowers, ivies and daisies. Today when I stand on this ground, I feel life, the life that I am, the life that you were, the one that is between the two, the life I would never feel if I stood by Simcoe or passed over La Cava. Today I stand on this ground, this grass, these blades where I came from, and I speak of nothing, and nothing is left unsaid, as the rain falls in soft sheets on the umbrella held in my hand, which gently rises and falls with the wind.
These are excerpts from a book I'm currently working on. So I found myself standing in the middle of the same plain, cold room as last year. It was me, my duffel bags, and those fucking white cement hospital walls. I was standing in the middle of a room that once breathed suicidal depression, extreme intoxication, and zero evolution. You know how they say it's the people who make a house a home? Well, here it was the people that made a room repressed. But I was determined to forget about all that. What was, and what is now. Nothing else mattered anymore, and there was no way I was about to let my past sneak up on me and bite me in the ass. This time it was going to be different. This time I was going to be a self-proclaimed superhero with the power to let myself be and be happy. Stephen's little antics were going to go in one ear and out the other, and Farhana's psychotic tendencies were not going to faze me in the slightest of ways. Drugs were out of the question, and classes would become a part of my daily routine. Maria and I again would be living together, and everything would be. Just be. The first change I decided to make was to take the bed on the right side of the room. Last year I slept on the bed on the left side of the room. See, the problem with the left side is that the view from the window is an utter tease to us what the city of Houston is actually like. The window from the left side frames what seems to be beauty, especially as the day begins to sink. Across the bottom of the sill, trees of all shapes and sizes gently blow in the wind, like pristine poetry. And on the right side of the view was the Fred J. Heine building, which looks like a massive marble masterpiece. And on the left are blue skies and white clouds, and in the middle of the scene is a piece of the downtown skyline that reflects the sunset's prismatic elegance. What a pretty view it was. But I'll tell you what, it's a load of shit. Because that gentle breeze is actually oil-polluted smog trying to filter its way through the city. And the Heine building? Well, need I say more? The sky? Well, I suppose it's nice when you can see through all of the smog. But the skyline, it really is a joke. The two buildings I was able to view were two lonely buildings with 5 separate Houston skylines. A scattered city for scattered people. And in those skyscrapers are probably giant oil corporations that are in cahoots with the government to kill off third world nations. So I'll take the bet on the right, where I can look out and see nothing but one tree. One plain and dumb tree. When Stephen and I first crossed paths, it was without a doubt an instant click. The feeling of pleasing uncertainty that I got was so automatic and so positively overwhelming that I could do nothing but stare at the ground. I don't remember where he was standing, and I don't remember where I was standing at the time. All I remember is that I wasn't wearing any shoes. But that's so like me. Either have false memory or just no memory at all. Funny what the mind chooses to let in and what to block out. But I just couldn't look at the guy. And this zero eye contact thing went on for the next few days. Every time we would meet, I would talk to his nose, to his chin, to his forehead, to his ears. I would just gaze into the wall behind him. It's like my eyes performed trickery that made his head become translucent. His eyes were the sun, but what was I thinking? That I could actually live 3 doors down from the guy and never stare directly into his eyes that I knew were so beautiful. It'd be like making yourself wake up from an ultimate fantasy. It's only a matter of time you have to put yourself back to sleep to chase down the utopia you were previously feeling. Stephen called me on it. Hey Jody, what's up with you? Me? What are you talking about? Why don't you ever look at me? Stephen asked me as I nodded my head off to meet my right shoulder. Stephen leaned in and tried to make eye contact. I nodded my head off to the left side. His eye chase went on for 10 seconds too long, and I just put my hands over my eyes. What do you mean? I turned around, still covering my eyes. I look at you. Stephen grabbed my shoulder and whipped me around and about-faced me. Look at me! Those 3 words sounded like a tantrum. He grabbed my chin and lifted it to get my gaze on him. I still didn't look. Are you always this difficult? I began to walk away with nothing to say. What was I supposed to say to him? Hi, I'm the girl next door, and all I can say is I'm crazy and I don't have a real reason to ask why I can't look at you? Or maybe I should tell him I see the devil in his eyes and I'm too scared to talk to him. Or maybe I should say nothing and walk away. So I began to walk away, but I stopped after 2 steps. I stood there, I slowly turned my body around and left my eyes on the floor to say to him, always. I walked away and disappeared into my room to go stare at myself in the mirror. I have problems with mirrors. As a matter of fact, I've always had problems with mirrors. When I was a little girl, I'd get upset and I would lock myself in my bedroom. My closet doors were these giant sliding mirrors that could be positioned just right so I could see everything behind me. At the same time, I could see everything in front of me. And I would sit in front of the mirror Indian style, leaning in really close to get to the glass, so my face would be about 2 inches from my face. I'd watch my pupils grow into black holes as the tears would begin to boil in the corner of my eyes, and I would squeeze. I was determined to squeeze my tear ducts dry. Why? I don't know, but it's probably the first tactic I ever took to self-inflict pain. I would cry for hours. Now I just stare into mirrors to obsess over the disgust that I see. That day, I stared in the mirrors wishing I had looked into his eyes. It's been 2 days since Kiana was shot in between her eyes. Boom, dead. The HPD found her naked and hogtied in the corner of Martin Luther King and Westheimer. Her entire face was splotched with dried sperm and foam from her mouth, ivory and ebony. Dry and fresh blood covered her pelvis and stomach. It must have been gory and sadistic penetration. The police had concluded that her body landed there after being tossed from a speeding car. They concluded that she was a victim. Funny. But if this kind of thing was to happen, it was to happen to Kiana. When you walk around life with your legs spread wide open, you're bound to get fucked. And oh boy, did she get fucked. And if she didn't die this way, she would have died another way. The HPD could have found her curled up into the fetal position in the corner of a dirty, musty basement, next to a rusted metal bed. Well, probably not really a bed, more of a rusted metal frame with a plastic mattress that was losing its stuffing. But she again would be found naked. I think that regardless of how Kiana died, she'd be found naked. Holding her knees into her chest, shaking like a vibrator was on Mach speed stuck inside of her. Drool would be clinging like sperm from the bottom of her lip, hanging 2 inches long. Kiana would have suffered her last breaths 15 seconds before the cops found her. Whatever, she's dead. Boom, dead.
Always have to adjust microphones. My son is almost 2 years old, and so this is a beautiful time of life for me and for my wife. We are aware, however, that this beautiful time of life for us is embedded in some dark times socially, times of war and imperialism. This poem is called The Deal. Before dawn, I hike stone-filled dream roads under a sky hung with flames. Come across children strewn about craters and oil fires outside Baghdad. Not lucky enough to have starved, they burn. I'm saved by morning glow and Willimantic, where I romp with you, my joy, my little blue-eyed toddler, Kit Jonathan. We whirl and spin, you stomp and grin, wrapped in the stereo's sweet sound, as light flutters in the copper beach across the street, as the phone is allowed to ring itself out, as traffic begins to meet at the intersection. My heart, my son, let's make a deal right now. I'll teach you to fight the horror that seems sure to come our way if you teach me dance. At Mansfield Hollow Dam, Mansfield, Connecticut. We're 2 or 3 years into drought now, and occasional crows like eagles hover, then swoop down to bubbling water discharged at the base of the massive concrete wall. Occasional airplanes sputter like lawnmowers and tack out above the reservoir. The granite walls of the old mill warm up in the sun. Pipe puffs of clouds spot blue sky. Parked here at the overlook, I remember how a dozen years ago I lay in the long stretches of grass and figured life would smooth out soon for sure. I am told that all dams eventually fail. Even Barry Goldwater regretted voting for the Glen Canyon, that great faulty stopper at the end of a crystal blue hole in a land that aches with beauty and death. That's a long way from here, but this place is no exception. Water, where there is any, finds a way. The stream below glitters and wanders off into cattails and shadows and red-tinged woods, which somehow reminds me of grief and rage I'll never leave behind. Okay, here's a thought that will wake you up in the middle of the night. Whenever George W. Bush flies anywhere on Air Force One, he carries with him the codes for a nuclear first strike. And this is a long tradition. Presidents have carried these codes. In fact, Jimmy Carter, I think, left the codes in his suit pocket, which went to the dry cleaner someplace. But he went on to win the Nobel Peace Prize, and everything worked out. Usually the codes are actually carried by a Marine Corps officer in full dress uniform. And they're in a suitcase, which I guess is called the football. And they call it the football, which I guess is a piece of carry-on luggage. This poem is called Football Hero. In the preseason punishment of July, his daddy would bark into his eyes, stand above him, talk him through retching on the sidelines, and a fine burn in the drive, always to push beyond, just a little faster, farther, harder. Daddy raged through autumn, this time from the stands, in those heady high school nights when he would roll, duck, and tuck, carry the ball beneath the lights, pummeled by other boys, enemies out to kill him. Now, right behind the president, imagine that, his mother said, flying with the leader of the free world. He steps, straight and proud, down the stairs from Air Force One into the mirage across tarmac and screaming turbines. He carries the football again, a small black suitcase with the exact code for human annihilation. He salutes, makes the handoff to fellow Marine with whom he's allowed a moment or two for banter. Don't fumble, man. Don't worry, I got my new gloves. And ponders all his training, preparation, those lessons of honor, duty, responsibility, how to suck it up, hit hard, never betray his pain, his fear, his doubt. Goldfinch. Here like a spark in a crook of the ancient pear tree by the door, flitting away, back again, oh, this handful of sun, darting, landed, turned, all hop and flutter, come to burn a hole in a bleak day, and just as suddenly gone. I smile, remembering the poetry you've given me, passionate, trembling, taken to the air. For many years, I worked at a lumber yard, and my brother still works there. And this poem is from that experience. It's called "The Foreman Calls in Sick." We had no idea what to do. Without a boss, our years of experience in lumber disappeared like a penny in a cheap magician's hands. I got nowhere, fast, holding the broom by the bristle end, tapping the handle along the concrete like Charlie Chaplin looking for trouble. Phil and Mike tried the forklifts for a while, but decided that they were dangerous, so they parked them and took the keys, left them standing, greasy, rusting monuments, mass raised in the rain. By that time, 5 units of plywood were splayed out across the lot like playing cards. Customers drove away, never to return. Spencer got lost trying to decode swirly grains. He mixed up the maple and the oak, the spruce and the pine. Soon, the orders were a mess, and the driver started to deliver whatever the hell. Now, I'm afraid things went too far, and somewhere, someone is building a garbage can shed out of old growth, clear heart redwood. It should stand for 1,000 years. I feel very blessed to be a teacher right now, and I give a lot to teaching. It's very draining, and I also get a lot back. And so it's a wonderful relationship that I have with my students. It's also a difficult relationship. It's something difficult to sustain. I teach a creative writing class, which actually my wife moved the curriculum for and kind of forged and created a space for the imagination in the school, which was absolutely lacking. And this poem comes from teaching creative writing, and it's called "The Daughter I Never Had." Kim, 17, dark hair and brilliant smile, student in my creative writing class, tells me just before last bell about her dream. She walked into the cabin at Walden Pond and found my baby boy there in the bed next to the crackling fireplace, wrapped in a wool blanket and giving her his big, gummy grin. She took him out to the pond after buying him some snugglies at the gift shop and held him while ice skating. He giggled and laughed while she did loops and spins. When she got back to the cabin, she realized, this is my brother, which in turn makes me realize I'm her dad. I have no sense of time up here, so if I'm starting to get long-winded, get up a big hook and get me up. This is another teaching poem, going to be huge. 10 minutes after second period bell, I passed Ben in the hallway, coming in with jangling chains as if he had just broken free or could never break free. Pants hanging down, fat farm shoes, dragging snow and winter wind through the halls, saves me, puts the music on. Nice to see you down for a second time that goes to Christmas past. Watching, maybe I'll change my mind about how much you last night. And his quick smile breaks his easy heart. English, I see the new hard face of his father, who told me last night and moving, he'll get to school, so he doesn't want to crap. Almost in the same breath, you can hear more and more, almost tight. Later, he scratched his chin, he used to laugh. I don't know, it's all pretty correct. I thought I could do something. And already he was rap. He was using swap. His rap was arrow, crazy. His rap, money, what hope, highest order. He couldn't bring his rage to his last, only citizens, first of all, to his destination was sights. I'm huge. One night I used to meet at 8, come up filling his car, and trees. I stopped, staying, flooded, watched their fire, cops and weird, work like the heroes, struggling to jump like life, ripping the ground metal, trying to save him. Another work experience I had, I lived and worked for a time on a organic farm, which was in Putnam, Connecticut. And a few things you should know about this poem. I referenced Han Shan, who was an ancient Chinese poet who scribbled his poems on cave walls and wandered about the mountains, and was translated most famously by the beat poet Gary Snyder. And I also referenced Jack Kerouac, who was the father of the beat generation. This is kind of a letter poem, and it's called To an Old Friend from Good Earth Poem. Your letter tastes of boulder ice and sky, tells me how you keep bouncing from mountain trail crews to work in town, and I think how it's wonderful to wander like Han Shan or Kerouac, defying the regime from a distance. Wonderful or not. I mean, we can't just be about finding a place where there's no through trail. I used to think I could just disappear, but I can't. Even if no one ever hears from us again, every inch of the earth is mapped by satellite. You think you're decaying heroically into the pine needles and roots and moss and changing light of the forest, when the bulldozers come to seal off your bones forever in a wall. Back here, you can at least put up a fight. I'm not saying to not go out into those deep valleys of rock, aching cold streams and ancient growth. Go, to find true loneliness, to feel the pulse of wilderness. Go to grow tired of yourself, and to find your way back again. This is a short poem. Wrong poem. This is a short poem. It's a postcard poem. I've written a number of postcard poems. I worked for a while in Baxter State Park on Mount Katahdin in northern Maine. And this poem is centered around Chimney Pond, which is a pond that sits at the base of a bowl of 2,000-foot-high cliff walls that rise to the summit of Mount Katahdin. And it's a beautiful place to work. And this is called Postcard from Chimney Pond. Climbed the talus around the pond last night. So many pebbles around a puddle from the views of Baxter Peak, but down here, chunks of granite as big as the small house I grew up in, all jumbled, jutting out of cold, clear water and piled up towards the stars. Silent lightning split the sky far north, scrambled as far up the rock throat as I safely could, and then some. Slept beneath the cliffs. Had a dream of you so real that for a long time after waking up, it felt good to have seen you again. Okay. How many people have heard of Gil Scott-Heron? Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott Heron, you have to find out about Gil Scott Heron. Go into your record store, find a tape or a CD of Gil Scott Heron. Gil Scott Heron is considered the grandfather of rap. He is a brilliant and uncompromising and fierce spoken word artist and blues artist, and he is absolutely wonderful. And he had a poem song called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," and this poem is called "The Revolution Will Not Be Online." So it's an updating of his, although I humbly put it forth. You will not have the privilege of logging on or off as you please, class brothers and sisters. You will not be given the promise of reuniting with old high school classmates with a click, or keeping the phone tied up and the world at bay while you fill your virtual cart on eBay, because the revolution will not be online. The revolution will not be online. You will not receive any instant messages, or, if you do, they will be of justice and equality, and you will have no choice but to respond. There will be no easy upgrades, on-screen garbage cans, or virus scans. No offers of easy, sexy loans or easy, lonely sex. Your only direct link will be the street. You will not salivate impatiently at the screeching click of a modem, but instead will run to your window at the sound of people singing new anthems, laughing, marching down the road, getting closer, closer, closer. FBI and CIA agents will desert their terminals, choking on spam, as the Patriot Act is permanently deleted and their own blood-filled files are blasted open finally for all to see. The revolution will not be brought to you by Time Warner, Ted Turner, America Turned Online. Your information will not be filtered through Google or other Yahoos. The top story will not be 10 ways to show your boss you love him, or America Fights Back, or Will Smith's Secrets for Success. Eminem will not hug Elton John, or if he does, Elton John will not hug him back. Bono will not hug Paul O'Neill in Africa, but George W. Bush will still hug Ariel Sharon, and the wraith of Henry Ford will always be warmly mingled with the pixel point ashes of Adolf Hitler in cyberspace. The new president will not be announced by MSNBC, only to be corrected twice and corrected again. Al Gore, the man who would rather give up the presidency than stand with black people, will still be the loser, but wealthy, vicious frat boys will not become president because brothers and sisters of all colors will be investing in every street but Wall Street, where the number will be 0. You will not be able to blame it all on your server, because the revolution will not be online. There will be no cheap, cynical 911 memorabilia promotions popping up with burning towers, hulking rubble with red, white, and blue backgrounds. No proud to be an American where at least I think I'm free country anthems to sample or download. Suicidebomber.org, Zionist.com, those sites cannot be found. Whitepride.com, that site cannot be found. PentagonLovesYou.edu, that site cannot be found. In echo empty chat rooms, you'll only be talking to yourself because the revolution will not be online. The revolution will not be online, will not be online, will not be online, will not be online. You will not be able to go back because every button pushed will lead us forward. The revolution is alive. Thank you.
Hope that brings the bread, starbright, strong for the fight, smooth, skillful, shredder, self-baked, stubborn, one step ahead, got food, water, bread, hurt. Somebody said gotta live right now, no tomorrow, body, fine, spelling, don't look back, become some salt-packed and some still pillar, still wanting to belong back there, and some wrong hair, whatever, but I never got hungry and went ahead to a pen slipper. Next page had to eat this week, watch that. That person feed on everything, did he hit so weak from the back of it, faint and frail. He gets sleepy, whoever said it didn't grow up broke, but still poked and perked up, spoke up for me, philosophy for free, still ain't no rent check, and no pilgrim strike is real for me. Time is money, man, money is food, food is life, and life is a journey I will take right here. Okay, so, again, consulting ahead. And it says that the next poem is about a gap between Mormon and feminism, and it's just ridiculous that there's no unity there, but whatever. Either way, the poem is this. Steady, heady, homegrown, heavy, hip-hoppy type vibes, collaborate value, and stop dropping as mass is disproportionate to my body weight is your face, is your justification for the invalidation of my rage, so you trash me backstage like I can flip my hourglass to take the time back to sit on and kiss like skinny women stand with cupped hands. So I'll hold the sand that slips through the fist of the bitter. Like we can sift through the ship, just the shift of our hips like only fat chicks can be pissed, can be ripped into, can be feminist. Like we shouldn't wrap this rip, shut this split, quit bitching and flip this script, scribble revisions on the backside, whether narrow or wide, ride this unified tidal wave of save us from this nation's high-paid media perpetuated MTV anti-ageist self-hating statements that the starvation situation may be okay. Okay, and the next one's a little more personal. So, weak windows shake, shudder, shattering, scattering, shimmering shards of sparkling stars across an upside-down asphalt sky. Don't ask me why, but lately I find it hard to cry. I can't get down with that hope, breathe, gasp, and sigh. I confess I feel a little weaker, or I guess I'm just the cold, bitter, or I'm such a mess. It's all this cold and dark and damp ground and fall trees. This is my symbolic fall to my knees with my palms out straight down the sidewalk and sand stuck in, rusting. 6 years old again, but my life runs in perfect circular cycles, spiraling, swirling synchronicities, a tiptoe flowing like moon around earth, around sun, over oceans and tiny tributaries, and every time I see myself, I stick, I stare, I swear that face was never there. I don't know when or where, how or who I'll be tomorrow, so sorry for frowns and down, facing, gazing, tired as I try to let you gain and forgetting my own hidden doors and pathways, this hopeless maze of chutes and loops and knives. Success there, I dare you follow me to my heart is steel and stained glass. Looks like giant butterfly wings. My will is a redwood with about 10,000 rings. I got lightning in my blood and I glow in the dark. My temper slow to start, but watch out for that spark. Don't you make you hate me. I can't. Don't you ask me what I'm thinking, man. I will only say that some thoughts are words because they won't translate, and some stay hushed because, well, sometimes some thoughts, some checks, some guys have to wait for the next line, the right time, the right line, maybe this time, because next time might be too late to state our cases, look each other in the faces, and hey, maybe stop these games, and that's my place, just to see, just to be alone, and if nothing that might come to shine, and time is shown that, okay, it's about to only me, and that's just fine, because see, I support me, I get me up when I'm in too deep, I push me towards those goals I keep, I comfort me when I weep, my bed holds me as I sleep, and no one holds me as I dance sweet, tap the feet swing, sway, leap in there, spin again, jump up to bumping bass, rolling like thunder, making weak windows shaking, shudder. My final poem is a little something that I started about 5 years ago and finished last summer, and the actual finishing of it was inspired by a little something called the domino effect. Yeah, it's better. Alright, okay. Here we go. This little girl stopped me walking, talking about, lady, you crazy? You barefoot on glass and rocks, where's your shoes and socks, your sneakers, boots, or flip-flops? And I said, listen, little one, I'm not the only one. There is definitely, I may not be the last one of these. You will see there's a whole tribe of people coming whose speeches need to be free, who understand that souls can't be enclosed if they don't want to be in that. Before we had shoes, we had some hard, rough feet, and before that we had blisters from the friction on the street, and before that souls were tired, they were fatigued from our feet, and before that, well, we hadn't really walked out that far, we hadn't worked all that hard, and no one ever thought to worry about any grass or rocks, any shoes or socks. socks, any sneakers, or flip-flops, and I said, and this little Miss Julia said, dig it, Mom, but lay it down some more. Can you tell me where you going? What are you walking for? And I said, well, I'm stationary gypsy, very merry, witchy. Mother said, now child, get the ass to the store and put the tables in the temple, knock the shelves to the floor, and precious is them. Well, I wish it was just us, and walk back out the door. On your way back, pack a whole big stack of what they couldn't give you there, what they didn't have to share, what if they even could, they wouldn't even dare. What I know, you know, is around here somewhere. Bring back peace, love, unity, true freedom of communication, and some harmony, cosmic truths, and mystical revelations of empathy, telepathy, telekinesis, and extrasensory, path of light, dark side, and other spot, astrology, honestly, do atrophy, purple and blue, green, mysterious, moonbeams, beauty, yet to be seen like sunshine, and butterflies and flowers and soft grass and poetry and prophecy and memories, the lessons fast with soul circles and super consciousness and impeccable intuition, this battle, this war, this gathering of fruition, this evolutionary revolution of every thinking thing, and its need to speak, its need to write, its need to dance, play, and sing, and maybe ask this little girl, are you even of this world? Or replied that I, maybe, more than most, maybe, not as much as others, but in this world I will walk again, not a ground to cover, and you may choose to follow me, and if on your path you should see that the mercury pipes and the black top gets too hot, you want to quit walking, if you don't stop it, your feet get a little sore before you went, what you went for. All your realistic idealists and all your unsung heroes, your unhung sheroes, and all your pacifist friends who had to sit when never mattered shit, man, tell them stand to strike, to wait, to walk, to face, to fight, cause damn it, well, we have a whole planet to inherit.
What's up?
What's up?
Not much. I got a few pieces I'm going to go through tonight. First one I'm going to start with is an older one. It was written almost 4 years ago today. That's the only reason I pulled it out. It's called At Heather's Wedding Reception, October 24th, 1998. Disheartening love songs beat, bored throughout the hall. Quarter to noon and all here consume alcohol. It dulls eyes, but brings a sincerely rosy glow to cheeks. Those already hitched talk of movies, actors, actresses, sports stars, those geeks. 7'4" and 380 pounds, but can't play ball worth the hype. The big guy at the table said something about my bill. I said, you better watch it. I've been bulking up. He laughed, put his head down to study himself, cut a lemonade in front of him. He called side of beef. Later, back at that table, I noticed he chewed that whole side, everything save the fat. The air grew thick and cramped, perfume scents, cigarettes, elbows and jaws. I slipped out the back where brisk breeze gave life to goose-flushed skin and fallen leaves were escorted to the sun. A tall, scraggly pock man twitched and introduced himself. Hey kid, he grinned, I'm Jim, Uncle Jimmy as it turned out. I was told that you'll partake of the shy halloo, he said while making a gesture that looks like A-OK pressed against puckered lips, then wrenched a cockeyed wink, the spice, as they say on Planet Doom. Indeed, I said, I do. So we strolled over to my car and burnt down a joint, and Jim told me of his time spent behind bars, locked up for slashing some guy to death with a glass bottle neck over a $25 bet while in a drunken rage at a bar. He also spoke of a buddy of his who was busted for churning out crank, paid his time, did his fine, and is currently back in the groove. I said, hey man, let's go back inside. I betcha they'll present the cake. Betcha, he tried to joke. I hope you're right, 'cause I've been drinking and I'm in the mood to cut into something white and sweet. We headed back to the hall and Jim met up with his wife. He's married, I thought. He mentally wished his wife luck and slid to my assigned table in the seat. And waiting for me there, I was half surprised, was a slice of the matrimonial cake. Before I could dig in, the scene slipped into place. The people, the laughter, the alcohol, the cake, the hall, and oddly enough, Satchmo came over the air, harmonizing, what a wonderful world. The next piece that I wrote, well, I'll just let it speak for itself, I suppose. It's called Arrows. Well, actually, I gotta preface it real quick. I use one Spanish word here. It's called arqueros, which is Spanish words for anyone that needs to use that. In life, I needed her to tell me again and again how it can no longer be. I had her sit down and explain this sober in a broken chair. I sat across from her. I smiled with my mouth because it was all I could do. In sleep, I sometimes dream of being. An ear overflowed with pressed pedal whispers. Her voice dropped, so kanky. She laughs with her hands and jaw curves, squints of eyes and whites of teeth. Waking. Till I awake, and she realizes I'm serious. I'm always serious as me. Then we lower our eyes awkward and stand in separate corners of the room. Arqueros. Quiver like an arrow from the bow as we all fly apart, aiming to strike a chord of wood with a bullseye heart. Don't weep for the riddled willow, it still stands, swaying in the grove where we missed our shot by the tremble of a hand. The next piece is really, really short. It's called Playing My Red Guitar. Now hunting sound which speaks no words, with pinky lifted, poised and posed, on frets it strikes, the smooth neck rose, wood, depressing, releasing. Yeah. The next piece I wasn't going to bring here to read. I've read it in the past. Most of my friends have heard it before. They refer to it as the Hail poem. That's not really its title, but I'm reading it here tonight because a year ago today, a bunch of really good people, friends of mine, were arrested in Hartford protesting this war on terror. One of them in particular was beaten pretty bad, ribs broken and whatnot. So this is for them tonight. It starts off rather prosaic, so just stick with it. Who can say when it began, this taut force, this unmassaged muscle of strife between ideals and the imperfect bodies that flex our socially manifest existence? Existence ancient and dichotomous, such as that of the many, serf, servant, consumer, clerk. In the few, pharaohs and their sphinx, monarchs like Umberto and Queenie and Macbeth, and dictators, hail Khan, Caesar, and Napoleon, hail Hitler, Franco, Pol Pot, Branco, hail Marcos, Pinochet, Diem, King Aziz, and Salazar, hail to all the big guys' bucks, and hail the voted guys' looks, hail to all the big business rigs pumping self-interest shots into the plugged heart of democracy about to burst, hail to my bucks as they're stripped from my pants, hail to our bucks collected as some tax, hail to the electors who voted for the Fence Act and its barbed and armed amendments. Hail, 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 holy material, in tinted windows, x-rays and lead vests, sunglassed authority, Mylar the warden and cool hand Luke, the insane gleam of the 10,000 towers gilt glass facade, the reflection of a cycloptic horizon, a city fried in the oil-slick technicolor of a fly's compound eye, wings buzzing round rank piles of illusion. The sun rises and sets, minutes, seconds, days, relative to the cash in its flow, its manifestation and its intent. Oh, hail all beauty and truth and freedoms that can be bought, bartered, repoed, or sold. Hail to the collector's long, cold muzzle and stock and bayonet, polished and cleaned 100 times a year since some sad act of war. Hail daisies and chains and bonds and bombs. Hail the pauper who casts stones at hot caravans of armor and mortar and the thugda of whirling machinery from above, firing bullets as big as the Ritz. Hail the pauper who threw teeth when he ran out of rocks, threw teeth till he lost both hands to a pipe, dream in a melee of cindered photos, nails, wood, and guts. Hail the architecture of pleasure and wrong, right and pain. Hail the administration of religion, ethics, and knowledge. All hail the burning bush. Hail rulers in measurements of the ruled via polls. Hail the faithless who believed since it began that we're chickens, violent spasmed chickens, soon to collapse and expire if left with some small-brained head. Hail to all who believe this source. Hail all who believe this course. Hail, all hail. Hail bottom lines united, where we fall divided after all. Hail, all hail. Frozen pellets of rain, tick-rat-a-tick-tat. All hail against my window in its view of wire-tied roads of poles and transformers coming together, streets and blocks and districts and towns, cities to suburbs, to states to nations, home to home, cell, cultured, homogenized workers or strangers, all hailed in a cold storm of churning from high, high below.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what to make of this next piece. It's a picture from outside my kitchen window. It's called Kitchen Window, February 25th, 2001, 8:35 p.m. The air, red, cold, and still, can speak like wind. I hear it mumbling, the rain from the roof, car tires parting puddles on rain-slick street, the tree old and gnarled lurching over the house. I can hear it too in the spring when it buds, scarlet poison candy, and houses colored chirping birds. But now is leafless and sharp. Branches crackle, fractal, 300 large blackbirds huddle motionless for warmth crisp at the tips of branch and twig. Silhouettes of crow back and beak against scarlet sky. Listen, seldom caw, escalates into never choir. I recently made a trip to DC and back with a bunch of my friends. A number of them are here tonight, so maybe this will bring a bell to some of you. It was written between September 26th of this year and September 29th of this year. At least this is not so true. The heart of it was written during that time. It's been changed since. It's called From Connecticut to DC and Back, or Ode to Jersey Turnpike, South and North, an Incantation. Into New York along 684 towards the grind of Sawmill, rainy gray, one joint foggy, only the driver's side windshield wiper works. Passenger eye see the world teary taillights diffuse, automobile syntax dazzling yellow, orange, and red. Traffic clot and tractor trucks tucking soot in clouds darker than the storm. I'm paranoid, ones from 3 Mile High. Don't pass us by, a radiated trailer driving their glowing compost past 10,000 empty full boxcars, tenement townhouses into the churning stomach of hungry New York. Stopping for a refill, sluggish through tunnels eager, cold serpent pipes writhe in electric bundles, let the tunnels curving mason, stone walls with orange lights. Emerging, now atop George Washington Bridge, by the never-ending cargo decks of eastern seaboard consumed. Slithering snakes of cranes and poles and rigs, black reflecting Hess and the thousands of your waters, Jersey pool black, unhinged maw, frightens me turnpike, pools of the lanes forbidden, ridiculous, Manhattan an aisle away, pay tolls and malignant giants, continental airline beacons pulsing on and off, beat the Pepsi heart. Plutonium steam and turbines empowering the audible ghost face of storefronts, street lamps. High tension towers pumping dead cities' juice, vapors, the angry moon withers behind the incinerators, wavering fumes, fed by beds of lines of dump collecting trucks, brighter than the navigation star, road map signs and aeroplanes low flying, just above that Dulles beacon, half-angry moon, masked in sodium discharge and headlights Gemini. More lights than stars fall towards us in streams, more lights bullet along the rotten apple's heart. Cars flowing hemoglobin of countless commuters towards the concrete veins and tarmac blood, the Newark sickly sky. Billboards and American flags are needles piercing the air in iron fits of polemics. 100 green toxic Exxon Mobil million-gallon drums, beating like that cardiac heart under orange blue lights and Zodiac Killer, Half Moon Red, Jersey Turnpike, smokestack breath. We stopped for $40 of gas and burnt crude coffee at Walt Whitman's rest area. Into Baltimore, advertising Baltimore, lit up in letters neon along the city's tallest exhaust pipe. Into D.C., all dolled up in Jersey barriers, concrete and steel. Leaving D.C. as we found it, all dolled up in Jersey barriers, concrete and steel. Again, outside Baltimore, advertising Baltimore, lit up in letters neon along the city's skyscraping asthma stack. At James Fenimore Cooper's rest stop, we purchased $40 of fuel and tobacco and a single nervous drag smokers' cigarettes down to their butts. Jersey Turnpike, orange blue lights and Half Moon Red, over Texaco million-gallon tanks, chain stores, billboards, and American flags of the Newark pipeline sky. We bullet along more lights than years, streams of headlights Gemini, to our sides all lined with bulbs, sodium vapor. We shall not go over GWB or through the dark depths of Lincoln's tunnel. Still high tension, towers shooting dead cities, and bright nights of sputtering radio static zilch, dynamic whirring, humming machinations, the lines of our child island continental Pepsi giants, the lub-dub of the heart's pay-toll valves every 700 yards, green arrow here, red X there, the lanes constipate. Your tears frighten me, Turnpike, pools of black reflecting Hess and the thousand slithering snakes of cranes and poles and rigs, vying for the never-ending cargo decks of eastern seaboard capital consumer. Skewered heaven, it's like this past the sun, Noco into New York, past 10,000 hollow box trucks stuffed on Turnpike South in half-life procession, nuclear hearse. Don't pass us by, don't start or stop at Yucca. Driving now towards Tappan Zee, past Rockland Psychiatric Ward, exit 5, exit 6. Moonhorns, now pale, pierce the tall shroud of black trees and reddening air, revealing the ghost-faced streets, oven brick buildings and plate glass fronts, city center, Walgreens, St. Peter, hospital top floor insanity ward, the big blue DH and red helipad lamps like Venus under Mars, fluorescent showcase of naked mannequins.
Unfortunately, I have only a single poem. It's called Caduceus. Slice and splice, make sacrifice, improve upon the man. Flawed in body, flawed in spirit, make right the divine plan. A piece of plastic here, a bit of cadaverous tissue there. Praise our accomplishments out loud. Our ability to cannibalize our dead would make Mary Shelley proud. Mechanical parts, works of art to replace old meat. Silicone latex organs of pigs, quite the modern feat. To push off death, take baby's breath of those yet to live. Some shall prosper, living long, while others give all they have to give. Some would claim abomination of creation is the coin of the realm. Things of metal, plastic, and flesh, with science at the helm. Those with riches shall receive their stitches, with new components therein. The poor masses that lack golden stashes will simply call it sin. Those with wealth will stay in health, with their files never shut. From sacrifice to twin serpents, doctors shall take their cut.
Thank you for listening. In mornings past, on the brink of a late winter chill, the rain came uninvited and cold, as late March showers often do. Today, it was not the disenchanted rain it once was, that left me submerged in a pool of solecism. They felt not like the unforgiving drops that whispered lies the very last day I saw my father's face. They were not the tears that once swam upon my pillow, nor the acid that burned while flushing my vomit, as I lay naked, battered, and helpless in my own skin. It was the tender dew of rebirth, and I welcomed it, splashed around, careless and alive. Today, a song feels warm on my lips. Beauty has a place where envy once lay, and I am free. Sorrow, a stranger, and misery, my old best friend. This one's called At the Bar. The old man on a corner stool who survived his wife a month ago battles the shakes this morning, like every morning. The red plastic straw is flag signaling salvation from the burden of death, the stench of raw emotion. Johnny Walker Red runs through his veins as the beefeater bagpipe man turns green with envy. Smoke swirls in circles. He blows another traffic light. His victory for today will be keeping that open-faced steak sandwich down. The bartender drowns in a pool of annoyance. A glittering smile stays pasted on the face of a blonde woman whose skin glows in a copper hue. Her diamond sparkles in the dim amber bar lights. She ashes her cigarette and kisses her brand new husband. He touches her knee, looks at her adoringly, and they don't hear the loud-mouthed waitress who orders a vodka Gibson and only eats meat sometimes.
Yeah.
Tiny beads rest upon my pink skin, steam rising as I bathe at midnight tonight. I dream it is 1924 and Bessie Smith's voice drones on in the foyer. Between my fingers, a long cigarette dangles, burning beautifully. Sipping bourbon on the rocks, slowly, of course, while the tepid water cleanses my soul of all that stained me on the inside. Bathing was numbing as I sat, picking my scabs and imagining solitude. The foggy gray water cradles my breast like a baby. When my supple skin surrenders to the wrath of wrinkle, I drain the memories down deep, where they won't be found again. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Joe. I'm just like you, but with a hat. This is a little bit of a excerpt, I guess you'd call it, from a children's story that I'm writing. It's called Whoever in the Land of the Upside Down. And it goes like this. Whoever fell asleep one night like any other night before. He brushed his teeth, turned out the lights, and closed his bedroom door. He pulled up the covers, fluffed his pillows, and tucked himself in the bed. And that was the night the most beautiful dream took place inside of his head. He slid down the neck of a giant giraffe and landed in a bowl full of jello. A jello-green elephant was standing nearby and wished Hubert a hearty hello. I've been waiting for you, the elephant said. Welcome to the most beautiful dream. Climb out of my back and hold on to my ears. We've got to cross this stream. In a magical moment, the elephant's trunk began whirling around and around. Hang on, Hubert, the elephant said, and the two of them flew off the ground. A big-bellied bird was flying nearby. She said, where do you think you're going? This airspace is off limits to green elephants and boys who need to keep growing. We're looking for the land of the upside down. We have an all-access pass. Oh, it's right over there, first row on your left, next to the looking glass. But you're still in the land of the right side up, so you'll need this helpful hint. The secret password at the next trouble spot is double-dip chocolate, mocha chip, and mint. The winged well-wisher flew back to her nest while the elephant landed ashore. The looking glass shimmered brightly nearby, next to an odd-looking door. The door was painted bright pumpkin orange and stood between two trees. A sign was written above it that read, all who enter must have one of these. The elephant's tail tugged at the door, his face turned popsicle blue. This door must be locked, the elephant said. We need some sort of key to get through. Hoover was a thinker, so he thought for a minute until he remembered that helpful hint. I wonder what happens when somebody says double-dip chocolate and mocha chip mint. The door swung open with a crack and a boom. Behind it were stairs underground. A sign was hanging in the dimly lit doorway, welcome to the land of the upside down. A seashell smell rushed in from the stairs like an ocean breeze at low tide. Hubert sniffed the saltwater perfume and heard a voice from deep inside. He walked down the staircase cautiously, testing each step for his friend. But as soon as the elephant put his foot on the first, the stairwell began to bend. The wooden boards instantly cracked and splintered underneath the elephant's weight. Hubert cried out, "Let's get off of these stairs," but it was already too late. The stairwell collapsed, and both of them plunged through a series of endless tunnels. They were scrubbed by plastic blue-washing bristles and ejected through stainless steel funnels. A giant blow dryer dried their bodies and puffed white flour all around. A conveyor belt dropped them on top of a spatula that flipped them upside down. 2 giant eggs were cracked on their heads and strawberries stuck in their ears. A mechanical arm stamped a date on their foreheads, good for 2 more years. A measuring cup scooped them up and dumped them deeper into the ground. They landed on top of a mountain of sugar without even making a sound. They rolled head over heels and eventually splashed into the middle of Buttermilk Lake. Hooper had the uncanny suspicion that they were the ingredients for somebody's cake. A window opened up and Hooper heard a voice from inside the sugar mountain. "The recipe is now complete. Activate Buttermilk Fountain." A red button dropped down from a wire above. It was attached to a small trapeze. "I hope this works," the voice continued. "There are no guarantees." A long, skinny arm reached out from the window and the button poofed into smoke. 2 giant eggs cracked open above and each dropped down a yolk. Then the buttermilk fountain rose up through the lake like a submarine rising on its side. It had tubes on the top, a giant tube in the middle, and a tornado spinning inside. In a matter of seconds, the entire lake was whipped into the fabulous fountain. The machine swallowed Hubert the elephant and all of Sugar Mountain. Hubert and the elephant were whisked between the buttermilk and the eggs. A small pipe poured in double mint chocolate and a dash of fresh nutmeg. All of the ingredients whipped and whirled and oozed through tubes at the top. Hubert wondered if the buttermilk fountain was ever going to stop. Hubert and the elephant were squeezed through the tubes and flung across the lake. They plopped on top of a giant cookie sheet next to an upside-down pineapple cake. They tried to budge, but it was impossible to move the tips of their fingers and toes. They were up to their necks in double-dipped globs of chocolate chip cookie mint dough. Hubert saw an oven shaped like a beehive when he heard the voice again. "I've been looking for you both for a very long time. Where on earth have you been?" "Hubert, you're going to make a delicious dessert. I'm going to share you with all of my friends. A Hubert whoever chocolate chip cookie will taste better than any other blend." Purple smoke poofed from inside the oven and the cookie sheet started to slide. The 2 couldn't move their arms or their legs, although both of them desperately tried. "We have to do something," Hubert said to his pal. "What do you think we should do?" "I think it's quite obvious," the elephant said. "How much cookie dough can you chew?" Hubert began scooping with his nose and his mouth. The elephant used his trunk. They scooped and they gobbled the double-dipped dough and they ate all the chocolate mint gunk. Hubert hopped up on the elephant's back. He felt the flames of the oven getting hot. "Fly away now," Hubert declared, but the elephant tried and could not. "I ate too much cookie dough," the elephant said. "I don't fly very well when I'm stuffed. You'll have a better chance of jumping over the edge. What do you see over the bluff?" Hubert balanced himself on the elephant's back. He saw a vanilla mist below. The cookie sheet was rocking on top of a cliff. There was nowhere else to go. Hubert saw water bubbling and fizzing. It looked like an ice cream float. Hubert saw a lagoon filled with water and trees. In the middle was a banana-shaped boat. "We're on top of a waterfall," Hubert deduced. "There's a lagoon and a boat below. I'll count to 3 and then we'll jump. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go." Hubert jumped first. The elephant followed and both landed safely in the lagoon. The elephant splashed enough water in the sky to supply a small typhoon. Hubert was coughing and kicking in the water when he finally grabbed a float. A tag was hanging off of the raft that said "Compliments of the banana-shaped boat." Hubert paddled towards the boat while the elephant relaxed in the lagoon. He was lying on his back with his belly in the air. He wasn't leaving anytime soon. The elephant was so full of cookie dough he could stay afloat for many, many years. And he planned on doing just that until a rope lashed through both of his ears. The elephant trumpeted a thundering sound. His trunk stood straight in the air. He tried to wiggle and wriggle out of the rope, but the advantage was clearly unfair. The elephant tugged and wrestled and wiggled until he washed upon a beach. The sand was actually a blend of brown sugar with a scent of vanilla and peach. The elephant was tired. He tried to call Hubert, but he desperately needed some rest. He had 2 tons of double-dipped dough in his belly that hadn't had time to digest. The rope was now tangled all over his body and stretched across his belly. He nibbled and gnawed through a piece of it. It tasted like peppermint jelly. "Are you all right?" Hubert yelled to his pal, who was tired and ready for a nap. "I'm fine," the elephant waved his trunk. "I just fell into a licorice trap." "You go and enjoy yourself, Hubert. I'm taking a nap right here. Wake me up if anything else or unusual or strange happens to appear." Hubert paddled his raft to the banana-shaped boat. He saw he wasn't alone. There was a man standing inside the boat, talking on a banana-shaped phone. He had a purple top hat on top of his head. It looked like an ice cream cone. "Hello, sir," Hubert greeted the man, and the man quickly hung up his phone. "Hubert, is that you?" The man was relieved. "I've been looking for you all over town. You're the most famous whoever we've ever had in the land of the Upside Down. Please climb aboard. There's a ladder right here. You'll soon be on solid ground. The Queen is waiting to shake your hand at the Department of Lost and Found." "What do you mean?" Hubert was confused. "My elephant and I are okay." "Thank goodness for that," the man exclaimed, "because today is your special day. Sit down on my boat. I'll explain some things before I take you into town. You'll see for yourself why we call this place the land of the Upside Down." Hubert tried whistling to wake up his friend, but the elephant was far out of reach. The boat sped away at a high rate of speed and drove upon a beautiful beach. The man hopped out and picked a flower that was pretty enough to eat. He said, "Hubert, this flower will give you the power for wings to grow on your feet." Hubert ate the magical flower. It tasted like strawberry pie. After he chewed the petals and stem, his feet were ready to fly. 2 small wings sprouted out from his ankles and fluttered above the ground. "It's easy to fly," the man explained, "if your head is upside down." Hubert took off up in the air. His wings flapped in the breeze. He looked like he was hanging upside down from an invisible circus trapeze. "Just follow me," the man said with a smile. His top hat was still on his head. "Enjoy every moment. It's a wonderful view. That's all that needs to be said." Hubert sailed high over the lagoon. He saw the elephant sleeping below. Hubert wished he could tell him where he was going, but the truth was he didn't really know. "Your elephant will be fine," the man assured. "A nap is always the best. Never wake up a sleeping elephant, especially if it needs its rest. Soon you'll meet the queen of our land. She lives near the chocolate chip mines. Her garden is the only garden in town that grows the rare chocolate chip vines. The chips are known for their sweet color and scent, but the vines have thorns like a rose. The queen enjoys chopping the chips into flakes and snorting them straight up her nose. The flowers we ate are called strawberry suples. They grow wild throughout the land. There's blueberry, strawberry, raspberry, and lemon. The lemon ones melt in your hand. We eat the suples to help us survive. Each flower has what we need. The queen's gardener developed a super duper supple, but he recently lost the only seed. Raspberry suples are especially important. That's how we get our food. Blueberry suples will make you lightheaded and put you in a very good mood. Lemon suples will quench your thirst. The taste is actually quite tame. And the strawberry suples are how this land originally got its name. And then here's a couple of excerpts that are just floating around, waiting to find their place. I'll explain that later. Just follow me. It isn't too far from here. If you're worried at all about being upside down, there's really nothing to fear. We'll arrive in town just in time for the annual Chocolate Chip Harvest Parade. This year you are the guest of honor. Your hotel reservations have been made. You'll be staying at the Ritz. It's a marvelous hotel made from crackers and cheese. Each room is filled with brownies and cookies and other secret recipes. You are the only guest allowed inside. You'll be supplied with plenty of milk. Your pillows are stuffed with cotton candy and your sheets are made of silk. That sounds very nice, Hubert was humble, but I do have a question for you. How does your hat stay upside down on your head without any paste or glue? The man laughed out loud until his head hurt. His face was strawberry red. He never could answer Hubert's question how the hat was stuck on his head. Hubert didn't mind. He enjoyed the view of flying upside down. He saw cinnamon sticks and a lollipop forest next to a small little town. The queen lives over there, said the man. That's the royal palace. Hubert saw a sign on top of the roof. It said, "Welcome back, Alice." You must understand, the man said softly. The queen is very, very old. She barely remembers to breathe anymore. Sometimes she needs to be told. The only thing she remembers is the name of a girl who visited her a long time ago. Her name was Alice. She was the only person besides you allowed in the royal palace. I'm honored, said Hubert. I wish I had brought a gift to give to the queen. The palace has everything she really needs, including a time machine. And that's it. That's work in progress.
Hi, this is Assistina entitled Beyond. She finally entered the room of shadows. It was full of books on obscurity. The entire place was dusty. Her fear became almost painful. The walls were lined with silver. Sounds entered from the upper ring. Lightning flashed, illuminating each drop of rain. A fury raced the shadows. The entire room shined silver. Her mind was enveloped with obscurity. The sudden light was painful, and still everything was dusty. Her head now felt dusty. It floated as a light misty rain. Her thoughts could only be painful. The memories fogged in shadows. She reached her hand out into obscurity and touched the glow of silver.
hoof was then silver, forgotten now and dusty. A hum of gentle rain, blending with obscurity, acted as all-encompassing shadows into the depths of what was painful. She knew why it was painful, not wanting to admit the silver. She could feel around her the shadows. What used to be was now dusty. The day as well was full of rain. Everything ran into obscurity. How had it become obscurity? It had been so painful, always existing like the rain. The axe had shone with silver, now was rusted over with dust. She dwelled in the shadows. Obscurity had covered over the silver. What was painful could only be dusty. Decapitated in the rain, she could see the crowd's shadows.
My incomparable immortal coils, my coppers, my bursting, banging dreams, my skipping, leaping, nymphish, pentatonic reveries. Spacious arpeggios, each alike a milky sweet has sought me womb, a warm, cantaloupe flesh gestation chamber, cradling my bitter bitten skin within the sugary, fleshy, swaddling cloths of permanence. They are the scaly ebony emperors of self-determination, shouldering like willful brutes and smoldering beasts of burden, my chapped mishap of a sunship through the glorious tonal void. Ethereal autonomies, carnally diminutive, subconsciously monolithic, forest dryads and woodland beasts. Muses, little obsidian helpers riding a diasporic wave of tenacity. They are that tsunami of an obtrusive fuchsia sine wave that urges me to surf its turbulent chromatic waters with light nudges and pokes to my crooked trident of a midnight-oriented spine. I surf, though with an acutely gangrenous big toe. Yet even with such a seething caustic wind biting my gnarled toes, I sail, an exploding obstinacy rumbling from my swollen diaphragm, screaming from the bowels of my howling entrails. Godspeed you diatonic few, future Buddhas, great-winged Dharma beasts, serving the posthumous release of Poseidonian coral reefs. Yeah. Now I'll read one more. I would be honored, absolutely, unquestionably honored, to be somewhat like a raw gum teething gnawing Odysseus gummied his way through swaying despairs. Winged heels like a feathered flesh Hermes stumbling through the caustic wind, with a brown paper satchel of oakwood omnibus around his sinewy clockwork waist. A spine like the great sphinx gently sneaking beneath the dry empty skin of dissolution, without a single throat-enveloping shield upon my peach-flesh tendons. Obtrusive armors desensitizing my knotted apricot-skinned Achilles to the pounding resonance of Brother Jeb's swelling ribcage. I would maelstrom through the tempestual spears of fear, doubt, the ugly skull of Apophis, with the obelisk-faced patience of a child of fine lupine aesthetics, brimming bodies quietly seeking the muscled aura of sattva by bending, by brilliantly creasing the paper-thin winds of thought through their tightly woven teeth, unknowing of their marital duties towards this supple fleshed equilibrium. I'd reestablish my marital status and renew a bittersweet bond between myself and that eternal concubine of ethereal and carnal. And towards the crashing, bursting, blast-inflected completion of every temperamental solar cycle, the square root of my worst fears, greatest hopes, and apparent reclusive behaviors would place me within a posture of extroverted vigil atop the juggling juggernauts of my boiling Promethean desire, in turn bruising the seemingly granite skin of my fault reclusiveness, renewing faith in we. I'd wear the waterfalls of booted bitten monks, carry the subversive swords of Angelou Elliott Kerouac with the gaping eyes of a daringly fresh-faced Icarus, absolutely dependent upon patriarchal wisdom to his dreary, waxy death, but a little more wary of emptiness of worn, airy, moth-eaten knowledge, and slightly more likely to enter adulthood in the near future. I would then rub my tempered skin within the bluish dust of slumber, stumbling aimlessly across crazy horses' ethereal paths, discovering my daylight enshrouded 7-foot possibilities beneath the dense fogs of my murky umbra. I would then be free.
Your eyes grew with that glare that you give, and your grin hung high for me, as if pulling me from the wrapping paper on your 5th Christmas. My beady little eyes within your dainty little hands lunged around my chipmunk cheeks, blushed red from the rush of thinking you might be interested. My balls grew bigger in the proverbial sense, my words etching a portrait of confusion, a broken Teddy Ruxpin I was. Your fingers ran down my chest as clumsy as me under 6 pints of porter, entangling in the tuft of hair, peeking out from under there. Your nails corral around my gut, perfect fit against my fur, groping and grasping the cotton pile. I've forgotten how to tame myself, it had been a while. My hands wandered behind your back, clinging to your spine, digits aligned your ribs, drawing your hips to mine. A ghastly frown of fear smeared across your face, like when you would sit on Sam's lap, clearly realizing that I was seamless and seemingly human after all. Your smile faded to trembling flickers, like you were forced to fake it when you got clothes instead of that easy big oven you always wanted. Making excuses as you retreat to your toy chest, to fill your glass with nothing and talk to chatter Kathy about anything. In the stillest fit I stand alone. After all, I always felt most at home, wedged between the crevice of your mattress and the foot of your bed, while you slept with the Ken doll you got for your birthday. This one I wrote not too long ago. It's called The Storm Before the Calm. Time's a storm before the calm. Its lightning peels across the sky. Like fingernails across a blackboard, it jabs its fork deep inside, a clock that is cooked to perfection. A little hand reaches for the bigger one, knowing that it will always have 12 times more light than the small one ever can. It smolders in jealousy, with no choice but to vicariously devour the other's chimes. An hourglass just grew a little longer, about a centimeter, but it still can't seem to eat enough sand to make it half an hour smarter. It's the glass's own fault for not flipping when it wasn't done. Children play, they cry, they wonder why, all to entertain those who are older, those who forget how, and now use too much time lying down. They watch the clouds clear, still praying for rain. This one's called Final Vision. This backseat has left me standing, applauding an enlightened and spiritual ovation. It came at the price of myself still living. The priceless life swept up instead. The stick shift always knows where to go. It tries the same route as the last. If only my conscience walked the same path, that evening I wouldn't have left. Headlights and knives cut through the night. The pavement sheds through bloodlets. Blood was everywhere in sight that night. I wish I could see through it. The rear view mirror enraptures the driver's eyes, gazing through the windshield's wall. I gazed in tears once I realized my eyes were the last you ever saw. This is the last one. It's called Posturepedic. Gin and tonics eclipse my lips, ripping taste buds to tart dry shreds. The trees so green, our breath so white. The lungs cake black as eyes burn red. The strangest place in the strangest faces, when porcelain face my eyes encased. Where is the grin of sin I dig, and try mine on fleece the taste. Aliens invade in X-File fashion. We invade the bathroom in X-Y patterns. Then to the bedroom for chat and grab-ass. The last's bed is Sealy status. Tangeray tank and mind blank fingered. I can't seem to win this, seem to say the way it should be between us, the way I'm not sure how to make it. Inching close like a world not trying to take advantage. Not wanting to curse it, just needing to rehearse it. My offense intending for defense relenting, in search my lazy hands lurk in tempo covered legs, begging me to say something assuring, act somewhat enduring, lips plant seeds of security curing me. Pension bills and quarrels with others, the mood now squandered, brow is sheltered. Departure seems inevitable, incredible. Tonight's hope is jaded and melted. I wake with backache from bed that's jail cot rated. Alone and empty, tempted to call. But unlike Kruger's song of wild nights, I fights and fight, the chances will fall. Thank you.
I am Kate, for those of you that don't know me, and also for those of you. I'm going to start out with a poem, and then Justin over there is going to back me up with some beats. Do a little rap. So this is untitled. Hey, you with your plans, you with all the answers. A destitute daughter of liberty and so complex but defective the objective of your ambition had. To be another one like the rest of those strung-out punks and dumb like rock hard, harmless, massive, muscle-bound sound machines storing life philosophies that don't make no sense to me. Still, it might be easier to deal with than this legit interference following my backbone to the ground and drumming my brain to an alpha state. But now it is too late to abate the movement in my cranium. The same one from Berlin, further along in the solid spectrum lines drawn over my eyes. I am all for the comfort and brevity of ignorance, for the stretch and relaxation of reality that doesn't mean a thing, you see. And I ask, why does this have to be me? As if all that does not fulfill these dreams will be the end of me, so my concentration lies beneath the skin. Within my own mind, the rush of what could one day be a complete me, completely. Okay, so we're going to try and do this now. I actually didn't have it memorized, so we'll see how well that works.
Is that good? Faster? Slower?
That's good. Look at the fucking what's the meaning of the words. It sounds absurd. Like presentations I have heard inside of your head. You spend your time pretending, looking at my best. I think I'm just another lesson trying to teach me. Try to deceive you with your device. But I find you too passive and quite inconsiderate. I can't take it. You are injuring my pride. There ain't no reason why. Can't even justify all your lies. Can't believe you said it to my face. What a disgrace. I'm amazed. Nobody put you in your place. So I guess it's up to me. Better pull your ears close to me. It's time for you to learn to be concerned with something else besides these. Cause it's like you're the only one here, the only white here, but you are all the things in this lifetime that I've here. Can't imagine being you. The things you gotta go through for people making passes at your head, making chapters of what you read. It's really quite tragic. You lost the magic now, everything has down to pop. Don't make me stop the words going out the floodgates. But I'm talking about being resistant, being insistent, being drop dead underneath the covers there, being consistent. You just get by the things I said to you, better teach it. And teaching that's the attitude. I beat around the bush and then you give a push. Make me realize I've been doing it all wrong. I should have told you the first time that shit ain't my kind, and I refuse to put up with your refuge. To find refuge for your little kid games, cause I'm a king of this hill, and no, you mess with my domain. It's probably nothing more than this. The rejection of your time, dismissed.
That was a little bit offbeat. That's the first time I've actually done it to music, so.
All right, well, no one else
I
is
just
coming
want
on
to
this.
shoot
Thank y'all for coming.
Sorry to come. Oh, sorry.
You know what? I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I have that on Friday. All right, you got it. You're it's fun.
Yeah.
It's totally.
I think you'll get a lecture.
Yeah, let's go. I'm glad you were doing it. We're not sitting on your beach and your on screen. I'm not doing what I
I did that.
You extra. You wouldn't let me do it. You wouldn't let me do it, would you? You black-balling bastard. It really makes me panic.
That's why we watched it.
Oh, look at
Oh yeah, well, I literally actually have.
We're going. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay, it's going.
Is that you? That's you, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the jazz.
Thanks, man. I mean it. Yeah? You liked it? Yeah, dude. I didn't hear you stop.